Okay, class. So today I'm going to talk about, does the justice system play favorites? Now, I was really thinking about what topic I wanted to do, and this was definitely one that I found was one of my favorites. So, just getting right into it, the intro, my research question is, do you think famous people get treated differently than everyday people? And then what I thought personally is I thought the famous people do get treated differently on the than normal people, but it could be a good and bad way. So I'm going to explain that in this next slide right here. So my background information, my reasoning behind doing this topic for the research proposal is because I wanted to know what people thought about our justice system. Now we know in everyday lives people have different opinions for things. So I just wanted to try to wrap around, see if people had the same ideas of what I had or if people had a different perspective on things. So I wanted to figure out what people have the same views and different views, as I just said. So ever since 10th grade, I had read and researched one of the most favorite cases of O.J. Simpson. Now I'll give a little background information if anyone's too young to remember. O.J. Simpson was charged, well, he was not charged, he was accused of killing his wife, Nicole Brown, and her friend, Ron Goldman. So I looked through it all the time, and people said that O.J. Simpson practically got away with double murder. But I mean, everyone else has their own opinions. But I came to the conclusion that O.J. Simpson was let off because he was famous and he had enough money to get a good lawyer. Now, and later on here in the PowerPoint, I'm going to explain of why I think that famous people get off a little bit because they have enough money to get these good lawyers that other people don't have. So I found many of different peer-reviewed articles that talked about the different cases. For example, the O.J. Simpson case that I was just talking about, and I feel like he was let off because he had one of the best lawyers, but he could financially support that. And a lot of people don't have the money to get good lawyers, so I feel like that's kind of like something that the justice system really can't stop. But I feel like O.J. Simpson got away with murder just because he had a really good lawyer. Tiger Woods is another very famous case that a lot of people they might not know about. He's one of the famous golfers. It's actually kind of ironic that I'm talking about it because he just won the Masters not too long ago, and this was he started his downfall right when this started happening. So he ended up getting into a fight. He was accused of abusing his wife and actually got charged of abusing his wife. But they said that he came home drunk. He ended up actually driving his car into a tree. It was a big ordeal. But I feel like he was on top of the world at this point in time, and the justice system really didn't give him any advantages. They treated him as a normal person, and he ended up getting charged, and he had to go through his ordeal, and it almost actually ruined his whole golfing career. And then the other case that I found out that I talked about was the peer review cases of local famous people. So this one lady, she found out she was part of the jury, and there was this local kid that was about to go to the NFL for football. So they found out that he was accused of sexually assaulting someone, and she said that when she was hearing about other people talk about this, that they wanted to try to let him go, and they really didn't think that this happened because he was going to be famous. He was going to be going into the NFL. So they tried everything. This lady talks about that they tried everything they could do to try to get around the system, and she actually thought that he was actually guilty, but the other people tried to beat around the bush and tried to get him off, and they actually did. He was actually found not guilty for the crime that he was accused of. So the way I have is I'm gonna have these five questionnaire. I'm gonna have a questionnaire with five simple questions. And this is how I'm going to conduct my research. Now, my five questions will be, they're very simple questions, and it is, do you believe that the justice system is set up fairly? And then my second question is, have you ever been part or heard of a story where the justice system treated someone famous different because they were famous? And then my third question is going to be, do you think that famous people have enough money to buy a great lawyer plays a role, or is it not really a big ordeal? And I spoke about this before of what I actually thought about it. And then my fourth question is, do you think the famous people can be treated wrong because they are famous? Now, this is saying that are they going to be treated wrong as in, are they going to get looked at as even worse people just because they're famous and they should be looked up as a role model rather than doing something that they're committed for, a crime or whatnot? And then my last question is, do you think that as people of the justice system, do you think that people will ever have a fair chance? So do you feel like the famous people are ever going to be treated as just normal everyday people? And is there a way that we can make sure everything is fair in every ordeal? And then, so my outcomes, the expected outcome that I have was the justice system does play favorites to famous people. And then, as you can tell from my research, what I found is that the justice system will treat famous people differently than everyday people, but this is not going to be in a good way all the time. Just like I said, the O.J. Simpson's was in a good way, but Tiger Woods wasn't. He really didn't. He got looked at as even a worse person than what he actually did. And then this last slide I have here is just my reference pages, just a couple of my references that I dealt with, and then that is it.